Around the year 300 AD, the Roman Empire was at the brink of collapse, facing an economic crisis and a variety of other issues. At the same time, pressure was building along Rome's borders. Groups like Goths, Vandals, Franks pushed into weakening Roman Empire, seeking land resources, safety from groups like the Huns, which led to broken treaties, warfare, and eventual fragmentation of Roman territory. In other words, the Romans are losing control. As the barbarians were pushing forward, battles were going on and on for centuries from different groups as everyone kept pushing. The barbarian invasion was the final phase of the empire. That's it, then it's over. They took down everything, Roman cities were sacked, values, killing citizens, and cost civilization left in ruins. So now that you know how their empire fell, before the invasions, before the ruins, before the collapse, Rome didn't start out as a collapsing empire. So how did this all start? To anyone who is confused about the three phases of Roman history, the Roman Republic fell in 27 BC, Western Roman Empire fell in 400 AD, and the Eastern Roman Empire fell in the 15th century. Both Republic and the Empire having success in their own regime, but they still had their own flaws. The Roman Republic died out slowly and ended politically. The Roman Empire was more complex, ending in different reasons such as corruption, instability with bad leadership, and emperors that were overthrown, and so on. First, we need to understand the difference between the ancient world and the modern world. In US terms to the Roman Empire, it's like if the Great American Civil War, the Great Depression, and the Spanish flu all happened at the same time. But the key difference that everyone answers is technology. Yes, technology does have a huge differences, but that's just a small part. Although I think one of the most interesting stuff has to do with morbid things. First of all, childhood mortality. 30 to 40% children died before they hit puberty. If you put yourself in a position where you had like If you put yourself in a position where you had 6 kids, 3 or 4 of them would die. If you were a woman, and if you make it to age 13, you would have given birth 4 or 5 times in order to keep the population not to die out. Those mortality statistics keep going and are a huge difference between the ancient and modern world. 90% of the ancient world were farmers. They weren't soldiers, they weren't priests, kings, authors, YouTubers, artists. They were just living in a small village. They never traveled more than 20 miles, never seeked a work of art, never took part of any of the things that we do in the modern world. They were just born there. They married someone from there. They raised kids, mocked around the dirt for a few decades, and then die. During the Roman period, there was a lot going on that I won't cover, but there's a butt ton of issues that was going on. Rome had a lot of flaws during its regime, had so many messed up situations such as the Roman games, bringing in innocent civilians into the Colosseum. Do you want to know what it's like being one of those prisoners in those games? Imagine yourself living your life, making your food, going to work, having a good time with your family, then boom, the soldiers of Rome pick you out of nowhere saying that you're picked for the Rome games, sorry. They take you into a cell for days until you're called in, hearing the screams from the outside, the cheers of the audience watching battles of sacrifice. Tigers, elephants, and so many other animals were brought here to fight the innocent. You are sitting in your cell, waiting to be called. And when you're out there, there's nowhere left to run but accept your fate. Rome's flaws is always living in the past, and the past dictated them. It's one of the reasons why Rome couldn't change. They live in a world where they had to keep their ancestors in a closet, but not in a vase, but in a mold masks, or death mask, and wear them at the funeral as well. If you don't, Brutus will come to your house and write something like, "Respect your ancestors." Or they will execute you, I don't know. Each children had to remember their ancestors deeply. Let's say that if you don't remember the small details of your girlfriend or boyfriend, you guys got into a fight like, "Babe, how do you not remember my favorite Starbucks drink? What? Chai latte added 10 pumps of vanilla, 5 pumps of caramel syrup, 5 pumps of white." Just know that children in ancient Rome had to memorize all their ancestors' details. What career they did, what battles they fought, and so much more. Today in the US, we see ourselves as free agents, not tethered to what came before. So the next time your boyfriend forgets your favorite drink, just end them. Hey, why the fuck you guys? That's it. Now that I've covered the fall of Rome, how civilization was like back then, what else am I missing? Ah yes, the rise of Rome, and how it started. Around 750 BC, the twin brothers Romulus and Remus founded the city of Rome in Italy, starting as a small kingdom, quickly transitioning into the Republic. Then there were the Punic Wars, but in the Third War, Rome won, having more dominant power in the Mediterranean. After more centuries, a civil war broke out in 49 BC, which was led by Julius Caesar. After the victory of the Civil War, he was declared a dictator, but 5 years later, he was assassinated. Around this time marked the true empire, which was led by Augustus Augustus, also known as Octavian, Julius Caesar's grandnephew. This is where the span of prosperity and peace started. This period is called the Pax Romana. Trajan was also one of the emperors during this time. He's important because he expanded Rome's borders, which helped a lot. But the peace ended after the 3rd century. Remember the flaws of the empire from earlier? This is what I was covering earlier about the economic crisis. Emperors were being assassinated short after some time, corruption was everywhere, soldiers were only loyal to those who trust. Keep in mind that all this was happening in the span of decades and centuries. The Roman Empire was split into east and west to make it more manageable, yet emperors were poorly on service, probably because they were sleeping and grinding in Minecraft. They were taking too long to respond. I feel like I've covered almost everything, or to my knowledge. I know I've missed a lot of more details for this video, so don't be mad. What I found interesting about this is that the reason why Roman Empire is so influential is mainly because of its image. Think about this practically. Everything that you do, the way you speak, 30% are from Latin and other 30% are from other different languages. The law code that we live, habits, holidays, everything comes directly from the ancient world. But the image of Rome is basically a dominant image of a successful empire, and it gives that single praise of like idea that says it was this great, powerful, cultural, influential empire. But this was not the only empire that happened though. There was a lot more like ancient China, but in Western civilization, Rome was like at the top, like 2017 Fortnite Prime, or more than that. All this is history to us, and it's something that we should all remember. If I have missed something that you wanted me to cover, too bad.